What up, college composition? So at this point in time for your summary analysis essay, you should have some sort of an anchor text selected for your analysis. Now, one of the key things that you're going to need to do when breaking down your anchor text is understanding claim, reason, and underlying assumption. Now, the claim is going to be a pretty straightforward statement. Your reason should follow in the form of a because sentence in most cases. And then from that, you're going to be able to infer some sort of an underlying assumption. So, for instance, in class, we read the following example. A bunch of starlings build nests in the attic of a family's house, gaining access to the attic through a torn vent screen. Soon the eggs hatch, and every morning at sunrise the family is awakened by the sound of birds squawking and wings beating against the rafters as the starlings fly in and out of the house to feed the hatchlings. After losing considerable early morning sleep, the family repairs the screen. Unable to get in and out, the parent birds are unable to feed their young. The birds die within a day. So the question in this scenario that I posed was the family's action an instance of cruelty to animals? That is, was their decision to repair the screen ethically justifiable or not? So that was the situation we looked at. Now, if you were to form some sort of a claim with a reason, you might say the text gave the example, claim. The family was justified in killing the starlings. You would add on to that with the reason, because starlings are pests. Now, from that claim and reason, you should be able to infer that the underlying assumption is that it is ethically justifiable to kill pests. All right? So that is one of the examples that they have. Now, they had quite a few other examples in here as well that you want to try to work through on your own. For instance, there was one that said, the government should raise gasoline taxes because the higher price would substantially reduce gasoline consumption. Now, everything that comes before the because clause, it should be the claim. All right? Now, in that instance, the government should raise gasoline taxes is the claim. Now, the reason is the because. That's what they're trying to argue. All right? So in this instance, the reason would be because the higher price would substantially reduce gasoline consumption. Now, from that claim and reason, you should be able to generate the underlying assumption that we need to limit gasoline consumption. Right? That's at the heart of what this author is trying to write. Now, when you, for your own anchor text, you're going to want to identify all of the claims and reasons that that author comes up with. And in addition to that claim and reason, you're going to want to look at that underlying assumption to find any kind of bias that that author may have. That is going to help you a lot in setting up your actual analysis of the piece in defining who is the author's audience, what is their purpose. If you can determine their underlying assumptions, you should get a good feel for what their purpose is. And remember, those purposes, the 6 rhetorical aims: to express, to explore, to inform, to analyze, to entertain, and to reflect. That underlying assumption should give you insight into what is their purpose as a writer and who are they writing to. Another element that you can use for analysis in your summary analysis paper, which is going to be useful for where we're headed at the end of the semester with the persuasive essay that you're going to write, is understanding the way in which arguments are set up. Now, the two key features of any kind of argument in which a claim and reason is based upon can be considered either truth-seeking or persuasive. And you want to determine what is that author trying to do. Now, truth-seeking is where it's going to come across as very unbiased. Here's the facts. I'm trying to seek some sort of greater truth that we can all share and have discourse about. Of course, persuasion is on the other end of the spectrum, where that author is trying to persuade their audience to their point of view or where their stance is at. Now, you're going to want to try to figure out when you're analyzing your text for this summary analysis essay, where is your author at on this spectrum of truth-seeking versus persuasion, right? And there may be aspects of both, to be honest. Any really well-written persuasive paper or article is going to fall somewhere in the middle of that spectrum because they're going to be trying to create their own credibility. So they're going to have truth-seeking elements, but they're also obviously going to be persuasive. So figuring out for your summary analysis essay, where are they truth-seeking and where are they trying to be persuasive? And then you can really analyze, is it effective or not? Right? Is their techniques of persuasion effective? Are there statistics and facts that they're using for truth-seeking? Are those actually unbiased statistics and facts? Are they credible or not credible? Right? Because sometimes those things can also be used to persuade. So really analyzing, where are they at on the spectrum, and are they effective or is it ineffective? That's going to give you some points to talk about in your summary and analysis essay.